Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly at ease, at peace? Not half watching Netflix while watching the football. I see you. I see me too. But actually present in your body, calm and safe. For most of us, it's very rare. And that, in this modern day world, is the problem. Stress seems to have become the background music of our life. It's become a part of us just like our breath is. We don't always notice it because it hums quietly in the distance, but it shapes how we sleep. It shapes the way that we eat, the way that we train, and even the way that we show up in our relationships. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to pull stress out of the shadows and bring it into the evangelistic light of attention. We're going to name it for what it really is and learn how to reclaim back our nervous system. Team, welcome to Built Resilient. Man, it's so good to have you here. Thank you for listening or watching this today. My name is Bartholomew Walsh. Please just call me Bart, though, unless you want to call me Bartholomew. I think only my grandma called me Bartholomew back in the day. Mum does every now and then. Anyway, I'm Bart. How you going? I'm a speaker. I'm also a fitness expert, and I have a compulsion to help people, which is why I've created this podcast. It is made for you. It's made to level up your emotional, your physical, and your mental resilience. It's made to make this world a better place. And the best thing you can do for me is to, hey, subscribe. Make sure you're sharing these episodes with people that may like it too. Anyone who's in the self-development world, they may take something from these episodes. And if you can spread this word, we are taking another step into creating this world a better place together. So thank you for your support, and thank you for everything you're doing to make this show what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about stress today, and I've been doing quite a few presentations over this beautiful country the last few months, not to mention SwimCon 25 in Adelaide, which is an awesome event, and the undertone of that presentation was about avoiding burnout, particularly when it comes to coaches and people who serve people. I find that people who have dedicated their lives to helping other people, be it nurses, be it doctors, be it coaches, be it swim coaches, be it PTs, be it EPs, anyone who's on the front lines of health application, it's very easy for those people to burn out. And it's the same for business owners. I did a presentation for Dance Principles United. Their studio growth club had an awesome presentation in the Hunter Valley. It's a similar thing with them. Because they want to make this world a better place through movement, in their case dance, it's so easy to put your own priorities on the back burner because you're focusing so much on other people, and that is what has inspired this episode. You can tell I'm quite passionate about it today. So team, we're going to talk about chronic stress today. We're going to talk a bit about what acute and chronic stress is, and we're going to talk about how we can reclaim our nervous system so that we can find moments of in our day. Let's talk about chronic stress. Firstly, stress is not a villain. In fact, stress kept our ancestors and keeps ourselves alive. Now, if you were a zebra, stay with me, bit of a stretch. If you were a zebra being chased by a lion, your body's stress response was perfect. Your heart rate would go up, your blood would start pumping to your muscles, ready to run away, ready to sprint. Digestion would slow down because we don't need to digest in times of fight or flight. And every ounce of your energy went to out sprinting that lion. Get in the zebra's head for a second. At least that's what Robert Sapolsky explained in Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, a really wonderful book if you want to really dive into chronic stress and how we respond to stress. It's a bit nerdy, but a very good one that stuck with me for many, many years. Zebras don't stew on the chase afterwards. They just go back to grazing. And that's a key component here, between the key differentiator between chronic and acute stress. And look, these same mechanisms exist in us humans. It's built literally into our DNA. Humans rarely deal with life or death sprints anymore, life or death moments. Instead of lions, we have emails, we have mortgages, we have bosses, traffic, bills, school runs, kids, my lord. And none of these require us to run for our lives, but our nervous system doesn't know that. The same fight or flight reaction fires up, but instead of shutting off once the danger is gone, that stress, it lingers. It's chronic. Now here's the differentiator. Acute stress, short, sharp, and situational. Short, sharp, situational. Very good alliteration. And it's useful. It mobilizes energy and then it finishes. It literally keeps us alive in moments of utter chaos. And the antithesis is chronic stress. It's subtle. It's consistent. It's unrelenting. Your body keeps leaking cortisol and adrenaline like a dripping tap, and your body was never designed to cope with this low-lying stress. We're built for sprinting away from lions, not marinating in this low-level anxiety and fear for years, and that mismatch is at the heart of chronic stress and at the heart of this episode. And I want to take a moment to make you understand that your body isn't broken. If we're under chronic stress, it's not that there's something magical happening, we have a magical chronic condition or anything like that. It's not. Your body is reacting exactly how it should react to a stress response. The issue is often in the way we're living our life. It's in our lifestyle. If you've heard me talk about it before, it's the comfort crisis that we're living in. The mismatch of the modern day lives we are living and the evolutionary state of our DNA. We've developed so fast as a human being race that our biology hasn't kept up. Our biology hasn't adapted to sit down for as long as we sit down, to look at screens all day, to have podcasts in your ears all day. Our body hasn't evolved to do that. And thus we have a responsibility in the modern day world to change the way we live our life to work with our biology. So understand that. If something's wrong, your body often isn't broken. It's working how it should be working. It is the same with your metabolism. The amount of times I hear people say, hey, my metabolism is broken, my hormones are broken. They're not. They're just reacting to the way that you're living your life, which is a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but it's the truth. And once you own that, we can now make change of it. We're not broken. We're just responding to the way we're living our life, and we just need to pull some different levers to make our body respond in a different way. Now, when stress is chronic, not acute, but underlying, it doesn't just feel uncomfortable. It can literally reshape your biology. Here are some physical impacts of low-lying stress. Elevated cortisol, which is the stress hormone. I'm sure you've heard about it before. There's other stress hormones as well, but cortisol is the golden child. Elevated cortisol over time breaks down muscle protein. It's catabolic. And it slows down your recovery in the gym and even reduces muscle mass. This is why when you go into the gym and see a PT, they'll talk about your stress levels, what are we doing to manage your stress, because even the perfect program with the perfect diet, the perfect nutritional program isn't going to work if we're under chronic stress. And I have trained hundreds, probably thousands of clients who have had this issue, but what's a PC way of putting this? Were afraid to address it. They knew they were burning the candle at both ends, but exercise made them feel better, because it does. Exercise increases your cortisol even more, makes you feel better temporarily, but then after the session, it will bring you down like nothing else, baby. So understand that elevated cortisol is catabolic. It's not going to work towards our fitness goals. It is also, chronic stress, a key contributor to fat storage, especially around the abdomen, not because your body hates you, but because it thinks famine might be coming. Again, remember, your body's number one priority is to keep you alive, and it will do whatever it needs to store fat in times of famine, circulate blood sugar in times of crisis. It will do whatever it needs to keep you alive, and that often works against what we want to do with our bodies in the modern day life. And sleep quality may suffer. High cortisol at night keeps your brain online, preventing deep restorative stress. And if I'm correct, might need to recheck this, but cortisol and melatonin, so your stress hormone cortisol, your sleep hormone melatonin, are inverse. So it's hard for your body to create enough melatonin whilst your cortisol is high, which is why it's so important to de-stress before bed, preferably de-stress even before dinner, so you can lower that cortisol and allow your body to slip into a beautiful night's sleep, and then you can enter deeper stages of sleep because of it. And if you've heard my speech before, this is why closing your loops is so important. Now, it's not just physical impacts on your health, there's also mental and emotional impacts. Chronic stress keeps the amygdala, the fight or flight part of your brain's fear center, it keeps it hyper alert, which can shrink the hippocampus, another part of your brain that's tied to memory and learning. Remember that your brain, it's an organ, absolutely, but it acts like a muscle as well. What parts of it we don't use will atrophy, it'll shrink, but what parts of it we use more of, it will build. This is neuroplasticity. This is why I'm so big on the way you think about yourself and your internal thoughts. If we can all of a sudden have more positive thoughts, we're not just going to become a more positive person mentally, but our brain will literally change to support the way that we are thinking. It's such an important thing. And this is why you might feel foggy, forgetful, tired, or even overwhelmed, because your body's prioritizing some things in your brain and not others. Chronic stress can also impact your performance. Athletes out there, pay attention. Your workouts will feel harder. The weight you lifted last week will feel heavier, even though the weight is the same. PRs will stall, you'll stop getting stronger, and injuries linger longer. Linger longer, linger longer. That's a tongue twister. Beautiful alliteration once again. But this is important for coaches out there. If you see a lack of strength progression in your athletes, and every other box is ticked, it could just be because mentally they're harboring a lot of stress, or mentally they've got a lot on their mind. Remember, the mind and the body work in one, they're integrated. And here's the thing about motivation. When you're chronically stressed, your motivation will dip. We've all been there before. Not because you're lazy, but because your nervous system is just exhausted. It's fried. Stress is like carrying a heavy backpack. You can still walk with it, absolutely. Maybe even jog with it, maybe even run faster with it. But mile after mile, year after year, it will weigh you down. It'll bend your posture. It'll slow your pace and eventually burn you out to a grinding halt. It's that time in the episode where we get a little bit practical about this team. You cannot eliminate stress. In fact, you do not want to eliminate stress. It's a part of our DNA. It's a part of our survival strategy. Acute stress makes you sharp. It helps you rise to challenges and even boosts your immunity in short bursts. Short bursts, and this is acute stress, not the chronic one. It does the opposite. The goal isn't a stress-free life, not at all. The goal is a regulated nervous system. And the first tip here, team, is to move like a human, not just like an athlete. Low intensity, consistent movement, like walking, hint, hint, is one of the best ways you can clear stress hormones. Off the top of the dome, walking is one of the only forms of exercise that is actually recovery inducing. As soon as you raise the intensity just a little bit, stress hormones ramp up even more. All right, be very, very clear of that. If you're listening to this message and you're like, hey, I need to do more recovery types of exercise, and you go into a yoga session thinking that yoga's great, it's restorative, but you go into a power yoga session, you're pretty much just doing the opposite. You're adding fuel to the fire. We need that intensity low, and we need it consistent. A yin class, my lord, if you've never done yin yoga and you're a stressed person, the first time you walk in there, it's going to be so hard because you hold those positions for so long, but you stay with it and you will enter a new state. You will find a new part of yourself that is just so calm. I love yin yoga for recovery and reducing stress. So the key here is low intensity, low. I want to talk about resistance training. Resistance training, strength training, you'll hear me harp on this for the rest of my life, it supports muscle mass, which buffers against the catabolic effects of cortisol. So think of strength in any athletic pursuit, in any general fitness pursuit, as the foundation of your fitness. The stronger we can get our nervous system, the stronger we can get our body, the higher we can build that stress tower, the more stress we can cope with. So strength training should always be an underlying goal of yours. That's your foundation. Even if you're a marathon runner, even if you're a cyclist, even if you've never lifted weights in your entire life, getting strong should be the foundation of every fitness pursuit you will ever want. And if we can build that foundation, all of a sudden we can react to stress better and cope with more stress on top of that. But remember that balance matters. If your stress load is already high, doing HIIT work or doing a high rocks event, it may just tip you over the edge. Stress plus stress rarely equals relief. I'm going to say that again. Stress plus stress very rarely equals long-term relief. It may bring you short-term relief, but not long-term. Tip number 2 is to close your loops. I still think this is one of the most effective forms, big statement coming up, I still think it's one of the most effective exercises you can do to bring yourself into that parasympathetic nervous system, to bring yourself from survival mode into rest and digest mode. And it only takes just a little bit. And Sapolsky in Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers also talks about how animals switch off. They do. Once that threat is over. Humans, we don't tend to do that. We ruminate. And so journaling, writing unfinished tasks before bed, or even telling someone what's on your mind helps signal safety to your brain and to your nervous system. Think of this as putting all of your worries into a container, or in the name of closing your loops, onto a piece of paper. It's putting all your worries on there so your body doesn't have to carry it. Tip number 3 is breathe, baby. Something that I have not been doing in this episode. I can feel my breath high in my chest. Breathing is the remote control of your nervous system. It can turn that volume down. When you try a breath technique before bed or in any time of your day, try a 4-7-8 breath before bed. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7, then exhale for 8. I think the tip is to make sure you're exhaling longer than you are inhaling. That's how we're going to affect the nervous system in the way that we want it to. Do the opposite, and you'll actually fire up your nervous system. Or you can simply just do some long exhale breaths. Keep it super simple. Those exhales signal your body that, hey, we're safe. We're in a safe position. And hey, only 5 minutes a day can have a profound effect as long as it is done with consistency. It'll affect you acutely, absolutely. You'll feel the calm, but you'll feel the true benefit of breath work over time. Commit to it. Hey, even decide, hey, I'm going to do it every day for 14 days. Right when I wake up or right when I go to bed. And tip number 4 is to redefine downtime. What does downtime mean to you? Netflix with your phone in your hand is not recovery. I'm going to say it again because I think it's very, very important. It's recovery in a sense, but it's not recovery in the way that I want it to be recovery for someone who's got chronic stress. Netflix with your phone in your hand isn't recovery. It's just a distraction. So remember, your body's taking in signals every second of every day. And if you're watching the latest thriller on Netflix, guess what? Your nervous system is invested in that. And it's reacting to it, even if we don't consciously understand it. True downtime, let's look at a positive here, looks like cooking a meal slowly. How frustrating is the thought of cooking a meal slowly to you? Because to me, it would be very frustrating. It's playing with your kids in total presence, or it's going for a walk without headphones, or going to the gym without headphones, or here's another one, eating a meal and putting down your fork in between every bite. Do it, understand just how frustratingly slow it is, and then lean in. Lean into it, be present, stay with it. Remember, your nervous system craves these off switches, and once we reintroduce our nervous system to these off switches, it'll crave it more. Take time to change your nervous system from a state of fight or flight to rest and digest primarily. I just want to reiterate what stress will do to your physical pursuits, because I know there's a lot of you out there that follow me that are in the fitness game, that are in the gym game, or have some sort of inclination to be the best version of themselves physically. And this is where stress can hide in plain sight. You can eat perfectly. You can train consistently with the perfect program, but if your body thinks it's chronically under siege, your fat loss will stall and your muscle growth will blunt. And dare I say, your muscle growth may go in the opposite direction. Stress makes you crave quick energy because it needs it. It craves sugar, it craves alcohol, it craves caffeine, which then can all spiral into guilt, more stress, and then poor recovery. It's not a willpower issue. It's your physiology. Your body's crying out for these things because it's in the state it shouldn't be in. And so here's the reframe. If you want a better body composition, nodding my head, think less about cutting carbs and more about cutting stress. The gym, the kitchen, and the nervous system are one ecosystem. Ignore them and the others fall apart. So team, look, reducing stress isn't just about the bubble bath. It can be. I love a bubble bath, don't get me wrong. But it's not just about the bubble bath or the 2 weeks in Bali every year. It's about daily practices that build your resilience so that when the next wave of stress hits, and it will, you bend without breaking. So I want you to think about this as micro recoveries. Take 2 to 3 to 5 minute breaks during your workday to breathe, to stretch, to close your loops, to walk, do that low intensity exercise. And that alone can change your cortisol rhythm throughout your day. And I want you to anchor these into rituals. Morning sunlight, make that a ritual, not just a habit. Evening wind down routines. I'm a big believer in dusk walks when the sun's going down, either before or just after dinner. Head outside and notice how your nervous system feels, particularly if you're around trees and greenery. Weekly social interaction, a thing that is becoming a thing of the past in our digital, quote-unquote, connected world. Your nervous system thrives on rhythm, and the better we can make these habits, embed these habits into rituals, the better we're going to stick to them. That's where consistency starts. And I want you to focus on a perspective shift. I want you to reframe how you see stress. Stress all of a sudden feels less toxic when it's tied to meaning, when we tie it to something purposeful. The stress of parenting, training for a marathon, or building your career has a purpose, and they all build towards something. It's the meaningless, uncontrollable stress that corrodes your system. We can't go back to being zebras on the savannah or being our ancestors 10,000 years ago, but we can still learn from them. Stress is meant to rise and fall, not simmer and fester forever. When we move, breathe, write, connect, and recover with intention, we stop marinating in stress and start building resilience. And resilience is what makes you not just survive the hard seasons, but thrive in them. And that is a wrap for our chronic stress episode, team. Thank you for listening as always. Once again, the feedback I'm getting for this show is very positive. We're cranking up the downloads, subscribers are coming in, and that is all because of you. So if you are listening this far into the episode, hey, thank you. I truly appreciate and really believe what we're building here, and thank you for your likes, thank you for your follows, thank you for your shares. It's very humbling, and I feel very grateful. I have a few other presentations coming up in the next few weeks. I'm off to the AMCA conference on Wednesday, which will be in the past by the time of listening to this. I'm very excited to learn a bit more about HVAC and the HVAC world, and then I'm off to Life Broker in Melbourne, which is going to be an awesome presentation and an awesome event from what I can hear. So very excited for what's to come, and there's going to be some awesome episodes coming your way in the future. We're going to change the format on next week's episode just a little bit. We're going to try a few things. If you like it, let me know. If you want to contribute to the show, you know what to bloody do. Head to hello@bartwalsh.com.au. Send in your success stories, send in your feedback, send in your questions, and I would love to help in whatever way that I can. So team, until next week, remember to choose resilience. Bye.